Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we are tackling a topic that's honestly generating massive anxiety and speculation all over the globe, and that is the future of your career in the age of artificial intelligence. I mean, we're seeing headlines everywhere, right? Tech layoffs, shifting corporate priorities, and intelligent systems that can suddenly write, code, and analyze data better than some human professionals. So if you've been wondering exactly how AI is reshaping the modern labor market, and more importantly, what it means for you, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's just dive right in and confront the big question on literally everyone's mind up front. Will generative AI take your job? For the past couple of years, we've kind of been sold this job apocalypse narrative, this fear that machines are coming to just wipe out human employment overnight. But the evidence from a really comprehensive 2026 report by the Institute for Machine Learning and St. John's University suggests a much more nuanced reality. So it's time to challenge that standard narrative and look at what the data actually proves. You know, it's actually fascinating to compare our current moment to historical tech transitions. Think back to the 1800s. Mechanization displaced artisans, sure, but it massively expanded factory work. Or think about the computer revolution of the late 20th century. That automated clerical tasks, but it essentially created the entire IT industry. Like earlier general-purpose technologies, AI is going to both displace and create work. But here is the kicker for today. Generative AI is fundamentally different because it reaches right past manual labor and directly targets cognitive, white-collar tasks. We're talking writing, analysis, coding, design, the whole shebang.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The AI job market shock. 2. Exposure is not replacement. 3. How AI redesigns work. 4. The tech layoff paradox. 5. The broken career pipeline. And finally, 6. Rebuilding the skills ladder. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The AI job market shock? Beyond the job apocalypse. So, we really need to establish a firm middle ground here, somewhere between the absolute panic of mass unemployment and those overly optimistic promises of, endless friction-free productivity. Listen to this quote because it's basically the foundational thesis of our entire explainer. Generative AI should be understood not only as a labor-saving technology, but as an operating model technology. That completely reframes how we need to think about this. AI isn't just about swapping out a human worker for a robot to save a few bucks. It is an operating model shock. It's actively redesigning how entire businesses operate from the ground up. Moving on to Section 2. Exposure is not replacement. Understanding the real risk. 80%. Just let that sink in for a second. It is a staggering statistic. A major study by OpenAI, Open Research, and the University of Pennsylvania estimated that 80% of U.S. workers could have at least 10% of their tasks affected by large language models, and nearly a fifth of workers could see over half their tasks affected. When you hear massive numbers like that, it's super easy to just assume the worst, right? But here's the absolutely crucial point. Task exposure does not equal job replacement. Being exposed just means AI can touch the work you do. But most of our jobs are complex amalgams of a bunch of different tasks. Jobs that contain a mix of automatable routines and non-automatable elements. Things like human judgment, building trust, physical presence. Those jobs are going to evolve. They aren't just going to vanish. So AI might completely replace the data entry part of your job, but it'll elevate the strategic thinking part. And global exposure estimates really paint a clear picture of this. The IMF estimates that 60% of jobs in advanced economies are exposed to AI, compared to about 40% globally. Meanwhile, the OECD pegs jobs at high risk of automation at 27%. What this data really proves is that AI touches a huge share of work across the global economy, especially in advanced nations where professional, managerial, and clerical roles dominate. But again, and I can't stress this enough, exposed does not mean replaced. Okay, Section 3. How AI redesigns work. The 4 channels. So, if AI isn't just firing people one for one, how exactly is the internal structure of our jobs changing? Well, this disruption isn't just one giant shockwave. It's a structural transformation happening through 4 specific channels. Those are task automation, worker augmentation, organizational redesign, and career pipeline disruption. Let's break each of these down. First up is task automation. Generative AI is just incredibly powerful at cognitive, repeatable tasks that traditionally took hours of human effort. We're talking about automating the first draft of an email, summarizing a 50-page document, producing some basic code, or whipping up a routine analysis. Basically, it goes after those language-heavy digital tasks first. But then we have worker augmentation. And this is cool. early evidence shows AI isn't just replacing labor, it's actually teaching it. There was this fascinating study from the National Bureau of Economic Research that looked at over 5,000 customer support agents using AI assistants. The result? A 14% average boost in productivity. And the absolute largest gains happened among novice, less experienced workers. The AI essentially acted as a mentor, compressing the learning curve and giving beginners instant access to the habits of veteran employees. That's a real game changer. The third channel is organizational redesign. And honestly, this is probably the most consequential shift. Companies are moving from phase 1, where individuals just kind of play around with AI tools, all the way to phase 3, where they redesign the entire organization. We're talking much flatter hierarchies. Management roles are shifting from just transmitting information to actually orchestrating teams made up of both humans and AI agents. Companies aren't just trying to slot AI into their old structures, they're building entirely new structures around what AI can do.
This brings us to Section 4, the tech layoff paradox, the real data behind the headlines.
So, with all that said, is AI the sole villain behind all this corporate downsizing we're seeing? Well, look at May 2026 alone. There were over 97,000 job cuts announced, and out of those, an astonishing 38,579 cuts were explicitly attributed to AI. So yeah, it is a completely valid concern. A lot of very profitable companies are publicly stating they just need fewer people to do the same work because they're rolling out generative AI agents. But the layoff announcements really don't tell the whole story. Yes, AI is a major stated reason, but these cuts are actually wrapped up in a much broader restructuring cycle. What we are really seeing is a brutal correction from the pandemic-era hiring spree, combined with higher interest rates and just intense investor pressure to finally show some real profitability. Companies are actively slashing generalist headcount so they can reallocate capital to buy billions of dollars in data centers and AI hardware. It's a massive shift in corporate priorities, not just a simple case of a robot taking a desk. Section 5. The broken career pipeline, threats to entry-level workers. Now, who really suffers the most during a structural shift like this? Oftentimes, it's recent graduates. If we look at the data, the highest automation pressure sits right there with routine clerical work and basic document processing. On the flip side, resilient roles, like nursing or skilled trades, they require physical presence and human trust. The big problem here is that a lot of professional careers historically start right in that high-risk zone.
And here is the profound irony of the AI era. Generative AI excels at the exact basic tasks, the drafting, the summarizing, the basic coding, the testing, that traditionally formed the apprenticeship ladder for young professionals. Doing all those repetitive beginner tasks was exactly how you learned industry judgment. So, if an AI can do the entry-level work in seconds, companies might start hiring way fewer juniors, basically expecting new graduates to just show up on day one already possessing advanced strategic fluency. And that is a huge problem.
Finally, Section 6. Rebuilding the skills ladder, adapting to the new reality.
So, what on earth do we do about this? Well, the era of the passive college degree acting as some guaranteed ticket to job security, that's over. We have to adapt. To rebuild the skills ladder, you've got to focus on durable fundamentals. Students and workers absolutely must seek out applied, real-world projects and robust internships. AI literacy, that's now a baseline requirement, not just a cool bonus skill. But above all else, you have to combine your technical knowledge with deep human judgment, critical thinking, and systems intuition. Because, think about it, when machines can instantly provide all the answers, the premium skill becomes knowing whether it's actually the right answer for the right problem.
We're going to leave you with this really powerful question today. Will we build institutions capable of ensuring AI actually strengthens human capability rather than just narrowing opportunity? The future of work isn't predetermined by technology alone. It's going to be shaped by the choices we make right now as companies, universities, and individuals. Keep learning, keep adapting, and we will see you on the next Explainer.